Hey, what's going on, you guys? I am back for another video. This is the channel of Christian Lamar. You know this already. So when all these shows started to come out on Netflix, I'm gonna get right into it because I'm not even like this is something that I've been wanting to talk about, but it's taken a while, and I'm not even like 100% done with the series again. But I honestly needed to rant about it because it's really kind of getting on my nerves the way that this show is built. And I really honestly, I wish that it was a little bit different. Like, I enjoyed the hell out of it watching through it again. And I definitely enjoyed it when I was a kid. But now, like as I'm older and I'm like kind of analyzing things a little bit more, it kind of irritates me. Um, anyway, all these shows started coming onto Netflix. Avatar: The Last Airbender. We got all of the black sitcoms. I'm gonna do some reviews on those as well. But I kind of wanted to start with Code Lyoko because it honestly is a personal favorite of mine, and I feel like it's somewhat of a cult classic because not too many people actually remember Code Lyoko. So Code Lyoko, for those of you who don't know, is an animated TV show that was actually French origin, and it aired in the US from, I believe, 2003 to 2007 on the Cartoon Network. Hey guys, just an aside, I just wanted to clarify the fact that I will be talking about the first 4 seasons of Code Lyoko. Those are the only ones that really matter to me because I never really got a chance to watch the 5th season, which is Code Lyoko Evolution, which is like the live action one. I never really got a chance to sit down and watch that. Plus, it's in French, so again, it wasn't really available for everybody to watch when it first came out, and so that's the reason why it was lost on me. But nothing really crazy. It happened too much in the 5th season to really like talk about it on this, and it's really not going to help or hurt me with making my points. So that's it. It was animation style was a little bit weird. It kind of resembled anime, but not enough to the point where you could actually call it an anime. So I just kind of just say, okay, this is Western European animation. A couple of the other shows, like animated shows that were from that region, kind of look like that. But for most people, it kind of looked weird, especially with the way that their heads were built. I mean, if you look at my forehead right now, this is nothing compared to majority of the characters on the show. Anyway, the show follows a group of kids who, kind of have to save the world from this virtual entity, like this sentient being that's on the network. Its name is Xana. And, episode by episode, especially in the first season, there's no like focus. There is a focus, but like most of the episodes could be considered as filler because they don't really advance the plot that much. A lot of the episodes, like in the first 2 seasons, especially, are like monster of the week in a way because they again don't advance the plot, and it's usually like the same format. Okay, the kids are just trying to live their everyday lives, whatever, going to class, doing whatever, romance and all this other stuff going on at school. And then all of a sudden, some weird supernatural science fiction shit happens. And it usually is because Xana has activated a tower on Lyoko and they have to go and fight him, or they have to go in and deactivate the tower so that whatever is going on can stop. And then at the end of it, they usually end up returning to the past. That's for the first 2 seasons because, like, halfway through the second season is when they kind of realize that. I'm gonna get into that, but that's just pretty much the premise of the show. There's this computer virus that's threatening the world and wants to take over the world. It kind of took over, whatever. I'm going to explain why the hell that even happened and like who is to blame, because there is people to blame for this entire show. Probably would not even be a thing had they not written the characters the way they wrote them. I'm gonna go through characters to kind of like elevate the plot a little bit, to like kind of get into key points. Let's just say the adults in this show, most of them are stupid. But that's for most kids shows anyway. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. You cannot watch a children's show and expect the adults to be competent. You just can't. These kids are every bit of like ages what, 13 through 14 or 15, and they are tasked with saving the world. But it's very interesting because I did my Avatar: The Last Airbender review, and I also said the same thing. These kids are tasked with saving the world. There's a major difference though, and I'm going to explain to you what the difference is. The difference is that on Avatar: The Last Airbender, they were not the reason why they had to do all this stuff. It was the stupid adults that made stupid decisions and put the world in turmoil, and they had to actually fix it. With Code Lyoko, it's a little bit of the same thing, but it really honestly is their fault that the world is in turmoil. So I it's a little bit, it's like sometimes like people like to compare the two only because they, first of all, they came out around the same time, and they also came out on competing networks, Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. So of course there may be some comparisons for people who actually watched Code Lyoko. It obviously did not reach the same kind of audience that Avatar: The Last Airbender reached, but it was enough to actually get it put on Netflix. So, it is what it is. So we're gonna start off with some of the teachers. Now, save for, yeah, there's only like a couple of teachers that make appearances multiple times, and I'm not even going to go into each one because most of them are one-dimensional characters anyway and don't really like give us anything towards the plot. I can start off with like the nurse, Yolanda. I mean, she doesn't really do much, but you do see her a lot because there's always some bullshit happening where somebody's getting injured or somebody's fainting or somebody's having a heart attack. I don't know. There's always some bull crap happening where these kids are in some type of trauma and they have to be taken to the infirmary, or that's like one of the main things that they use to get out of class when like Xana attacks. That's one of the main like, can I go to the infirmary? Like, that's literally one of the like major things. You're gonna hear that line if you haven't watched the show. If you ever watch the show, you're going to hear that line a lot, especially from Yumi. And I'm gonna get on Miss Yumi in a minute, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna work our way over there. The only other teachers that I would actually like to talk about are Mrs. Hertz. I think her first name is actually Suzanne. And that's only because of the fact that you see her the most out of all the teachers. She's the science teacher. And you also do the history teacher too. And Miss Meyer is the math teacher. But Hertz is the one that you are going to see the most. And it's mostly because sometimes the things that she's talking about in class is related to some of the things that the kids are doing when it comes to Lyoko or whatever. Or she might be talking about something that that pertains to whatever the Xana attack is going to be this week. There's nothing remarkable about her character. She's probably one of the more stricter teachers because more often than not, she's like kind of on their tails about leaving class to go places all the time. Like one time they were like, "Oh, ma'am, can I go to the bathroom?" And then Anna's like, "Oh, me too." And then Ulrich's like, "Oh, me too," or whatever. And then Mrs. Hurt's like, no, like, why is it always you three that want to get up and go? You're always leaving class. Like, sit down. Like, I'm like, oh, I was like, all right, go ahead, Miss Ma'am, go ahead. Because honestly, I would be the same way. Like, y'all always leaving. And this is obviously me on the outside looking in because I wouldn't know, if I were a teacher, I wouldn't know what was going on with these kids. Moving forward, we're not spending that much time on Hertz. Moving forward, Jim. He's probably the teacher that you see the most because he is, first of all, he lives on the campus. It's a boarding school, mind you. He lives on the campus, and he's usually the one that like oversees the dorms, makes sure things are in order as much as he can. Honestly, he's really not that competent, but he's also kind of an interesting character because we meet him and he's like this like big scary looking like doofus of a guy. And honestly, the only thing that he really wants is like, he just wants attention. I feel like it's more or less like people always treat him like crap and he kind of just takes it. But I feel like he also internalizes it and he honestly wants like he wants some type of friendship, and that's why he kind of latched on to the kids a couple of times. Like, he's actually helped the kids get through a lot of sticky situations, and he was even added to the group in a couple of occasions as well. Of course, the return to the past honestly like erased that whole thing, but if needed, Jim honestly can be an asset to the kids because he can offer like a little bit more muscle. Like, they honestly do need an adult that they can kind of push around. But it's neither here nor there. They use him when they need to, but he's actually a pretty good person. It's just, I feel like, damn, like the rest of the teachers treat him like crap. The kids treat him like crap. He's just like, it's, I feel bad. Honestly, put up a hashtag justice for Jim. We need it. And it's honestly ill fitting the fact that he is actually the gym teacher and his name is Jim. A running gag is that he like tells these stories or whatever, or rather he'll say, oh, I used to do this, like I used to parachute with the Air Force and this and that and the other. I'm just paraphrasing. And they're like, oh really, Jim, you did that? And he's like, oh, I'd rather not talk about it. And that's just because like in the origin episode, which we got in like season 3, I don't know why we got the origin episode in season 3, because like mind you, this show is kind of told in out of chronological order because certain episodes, especially in season 1, are out of order. They're really, yeah, the only ones that are like in order, let me get the first like 3 or 4, but everything else is kind of like choppy. But in the origin episode, he's telling a story to Yumi and Ulrich about, whatever have you, and it's the most ridiculous story ever. And then Ulrich is like, you know what? I feel like you probably shouldn't have told the story because it's stupid. And then from then on, it was like he would tell them that he used to do something, but then he'd say, I'd rather not talk about it. And that's the running gag with Jim. Moving on, I'm going to get into some of the kids because, well, let's just mention this one person because it's going to segue into the next character anyway. Principal Delmas is the biggest idiot I think I've ever seen in my life. Forget everything that you know about Jim that I've already told you. He's a lovable oaf. Delmas is a god. He's I don't know what kind of crack he's on. Literally makes the worst decisions ever for any principal, and he also looks over a lot of things pertaining to his daughter, which we already know what, like, that's obviously like nepotism. We already know what that's about. But at the same time, like, it's really it's really ridiculous how this man, like, he really thinks that he's doing something, but he's not doing anything at all because the kids always get over anyway. Like, they always get over. You're not doing anything, sir. You're not doing anything. He didn't even know how to deal with like a small cry. I'm not even going to get into his ass. I'm really not going to get into his ass. Watch the show. You'll see for yourself why the hell Delmas is the worst principal ever. He just does not care about his students enough to me. Does not at all. At all. He just sits in his office. Moving on to the kids. We're getting into his daughter, Sissy. Okay, Miss Elizabeth Delmas. And we're going to talk about her and her group together because she has like these 2 idiots that follow her around, Herb and Nicholas. And the one thing I will say is that, I mean, they're probably the only ones that really care about Sissy. But I will say one thing about Sissy. Sissy was needed. Sissy was needed for this show because I think she adds an extra layer of like humor. Because they're always cracking jokes on her, even though I feel like sometimes it's unwarranted. I don't, and this is my thing. Sissy to me is not a bad person. And I'm saying this like, she's not a bad person, but she kind of goes there because of the things that the kids have done to her, like the way that they talk about her, the way that they kind of brush her off because she's the principal's daughter. And she is a bit of a, she is a bit spoiled, like she is a spoiled brat, but that's pretty much her only thing. She really hasn't done anything all that crazy or mean to the kids for them to actually treat her the way that they do. Literally, okay, her infatuation with Ulrich is the one thing that drives everything. Because even in the first, like the origin episode, like I said, Odd even found her attractive. He's like, oh, who's the hot babe? When like Sissy came up to Ulrich and started calling him like sweetie and stuff, and Ulrich pretty much said, oh, she's annoying, this and that and the other, and don't talk to her. Like, Ulrich was the one who really honestly made everybody hate Sissy. and I'm gonna get on Ulrich's ass in a moment, but I'm just saying, like, everybody else probably wouldn't have that much of an issue with Sissy if she weren't like, first of all up in Ulrich's face, and then Ulrich wasn't like 100% annoyed and like spread it around that like she's just this horrible person. Like, and then a couple of times, like they've taken advantage of the fact that she likes Ulrich so much, and then they'll like make Ulrich do things and like date her for a little bit shorter period of time so she can do stuff for him, like get the principal off of their backs or whatever. And I'm just like, come on now, you really are using this girl for to get over. Like, it's honestly, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad the way that these kids operate. It's kind of sad. Sometimes they can be bullies, and I'm saying that right out. These kids can be bullies, and it's sad because they're all dorks. Like, especially like Odd or and Jeremy, like they're all dorks, and they honestly they bully these kids around this school. It's ridiculous. Anyway, it doesn't make me like them any less, but I'm just stating the facts. I'm stating the obvious. Like, they honestly needed to curb the way that they treat Sissy and a couple of the other kids in the school. As far as Herb is concerned, he's kind of like the Jeremy, if you want to say, of Sissy's group. He's the one that gets the best grades and all that stuff, but like at the same time, he's like also stupid. Like he gets good grades, he has book smarts, but he kind of lacks common sense sometimes. A couple of things that happens, like you're just like, what, like I thought you were supposed to be smart, like why are you allowing this to happen? Or and then most of the time it's because of the fact that he lets his heart get away because he actually has his crush on Sissy. Moving on from that though, Nicholas, different case. He actually is he I will get on him a little bit later when I talk about Aelita. But moving on. So we're gonna start off with probably one of the most ignorant characters in the show. William Dunbar. Let me say this. William wouldn't have been a bad character had they written him the way I thought they were gonna write him, which is like the cool, like laid back kind of character. But then they turned him into a nutcase. Like, he was a nutcase. Showing up at Yumi's house at all kinds of hours of the night, following her places. I mean, I get that you like her, but you're a little obsessed, sir. And the thing is that Yumi is also no saint in this because he kind of warned her that he got kicked out of his last school because he kind of went crazy writing love letters and all kinds of other bull crap. But and then you tried to get what? I don't get it. I don't get it. And then seasons 3 and 4, I feel like they wouldn't have been as bad if William honestly just took a little bit serious, like if he wasn't such an idiot. Like, they take him to Lyoko, like they added him to the group, and obviously this is spoilers, but they took him to Lyoko. Like, he was added to the group a lot later on, because they felt like, hey, we need somebody else that can help us because like it's kind of becoming a little bit too much with just like the four of us going to Lyoko. So let's add a fifth person. And they add William because he's always around anyway. So I was like, okay, cool. Let's add a new person. His design in Lyoko was really cool. Like, I like the huge sword and all that. That was all really, really nice. But he just honestly was not like ready, mature. He wasn't mature enough. And it's crazy to say because we've got odd Della Robbia on this damn team, the biggest prankster, the biggest jokester. Even he knows better than to go to Lyoko and make a it's a video game. Like, obviously, like, come on. And they try to warn him and he doesn't listen and he ends up getting possessed by Xana. And then all through the rest of season 3 and 4, we are dealing with the bullshit. Having to fight against William and having William, possessed by Xana. It's just a freaking mess. It's a freaking mess. Like, he honestly shouldn't have even been like in the show, in my opinion. Like, he was written in the show to have like a stupid love triangle, which I hate love triangles anyway, but when it involves like kids, it's also very, very irritating because we got him loving on Yumi and then Ulrich also loving on Yumi and then Sissy liking Ulrich, and then it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna be doing this quite a lot. Whenever I do these like commentary videos and these rant videos, I always kind of miss out on things, and I need to start doing notes. But it is what it is. But something that I wanted to add is, well, I'm going to mention this later on, but Yumi is the only one that honestly has like a lot of common sense in this group. And it shows because she's the one person that warned them that William wasn't to be trusted. Like she told them, she's like, I don't think that we should trust William. I don't like him like that. I don't think that, you know, he would be a good fit. And guess what? She was right. The rest of you guys are idiots. This is giving me anxiety. Let's get into, well, she used to be best girl, but Miss Ma'ams, she has a problem. And I just mentioned her when I was talking about William, but we're going to talk about Miss Yumi Ishiyama. Um, she's a queen in her own right. And honestly, I feel like she kind of has the most common sense out of everybody in this show, other than maybe Aelita, which is saying a lot considering she spent most of her life on a computerized, in a computer virtual world. Um, but yeah, no, the dudes on this show, most of them suck. When it comes to their personalities, most of them suck. Yumi, first of all, first of all, she's like a ninja. First of all, she's a ninja because she is like a master escape artist. I don't know what it is about it. Every single time, and I mentioned William, every single time that they're together, she vanishes in the blink of an eye, like the damn Avatar. I just don't understand. Like she literally just vanishes. Like they'll be talking, hey, you know, this and that and the other, and then they look this way, and then they look back, and Yumi's gone. I'm like, and then like you look around where they are, and there is no way that she could get away so fast unless she was running at the speed of sound or something. There's no way she could get away so fast and you wouldn't see where she was going because it'd be like wide open spaces. I'm like, what the hell they have this girl? Okay, so she's a like real life ninja. All right, let's move on from that. But she also, to me, she has a lot of affinity for like when there's like actual problems within the group. She can usually mediate unless it usually involves her, but she is also the cause of a lot of the issues in the group. And I feel like, damn it, because obviously with the whole Ulrich thing and then Sissy, and then there's always causing issues in the group. And I feel like Yumi doesn't ever really like, she's never really upfront about the way that she feels, and neither is Ulrich either. So it's like the two of them, like she's a goth girl, like she's like, you know, she's more emo, like she's like kind of internalized. She's kind of an introvert. She'll hang out with her friends, but that's pretty much it. She doesn't really let a lot of people in, and I think that's like one of the issues that's one of the things that causes issues in like her like romantic relationships. Because when it comes to William, I feel like her and William could have been a good couple if one, he was a little bit more mature, which mind you, he's like one of the oldest. And two, if Yumi was a little bit more upfront about the way that she felt from the get-go, I feel like she strung William along to the point where like he honestly believed that he had a shot with her. Obviously later on he like figured like, hey, okay, so you definitely like Ulrich, don't like me, so like let's just call it quits for that and just be friends. Fine. But then Yumi kind of just she doesn't, I feel like she really doesn't know how to navigate all that attention. She really doesn't. She probably didn't get a lot of that attention like growing up or whatever from boys. So it's all new to her. It is what it is, but I hate the fact that I'm even talking about that. Let's talk about her, Lyoko. Lyoko, I love the way she fights. I love the way she fights. Her telekinesis is awesome. And also the fans, I thought that was a nice touch. I do prefer her earlier design to the later design. I really don't know what the hell it was going on with the thing above her eyebrows. Like that was kind of weird. Although I do like the bodysuit. I like the way that the aesthetically, the way that her original costume looks on Lyoko. I really prefer that. We're moving on to Ulrich Stern. Arguably, probably one of the most boring characters in the show. I mean, come on. The dude don't really got a lot going on, okay? They say his looks, but like with the way that this animation looks, like I can't even really say like he looks better than any other character in the show because they're all drawn pretty much the same. I get an animation style, but most of the characters look exactly the same. He, again, is probably one of the most boring characters in the show. There's nothing crazy, like, amazing about him. He's not that smart. He doesn't get good grades. I mean, the only thing about him is that he's athletic. And I think that's what they like about him is that he's athletic and, he lacks the loyalty sometimes too, because he be doing some shisty shit on under the table, and he won't like really secretive, like he won't tell them anything, like the whole thing with Sissy when he was like being blackmailed, and like she found his diary or whatever. He wasn't even like upfront and honest about that. He wasn't upfront and honest about the fact that like when he was doing like the soccer game, like he wanted to impress his father because he has a really like strained relationship with his father. So he wanted to impress him. So he wanted to actually showcase what he can do on the soccer fields, since he honestly can't show his grades up. Like his grades are not good enough to really be able to impress his father. So he has to impress him with athletics. But that's the thing about like he didn't even share that with them, and so you had Jeremy out here looking like a fool, which he kind of is, but we're gonna get on that later. You kind of had him looking like a fool because he was mad that he chose a soccer game over trying to save the world or whatever. And then when Odd tells him, he's like, well, why the hell wouldn't he say that to us? Why is he always moving in secret? Why is he always moving so silently? And I don't like that. Like, if you have like a group of friends that you hang around all the time, be a little bit more transparent. Like, I understand, like, you may have trust issues and you may be like a little bit of a loner, but then at that moment, just don't have friends or have like one or two. Like, I just don't know. And then the fact that all these girls are like so in love with him, what are you really in love with? There's really nothing that interesting about him. He's boring. He can't tell a good joke to save his life, and he has a horrible sense of humor. Um, I don't know. He's always whining about everything, especially when it comes to Yumi. Like he don't know what the hell to do when it comes to Yumi. The only thing he's got is that he's the best fighter out of the group, but like Yumi can match him a lot of the time too. So I don't. I'm not even here. Whatever. I think that's pretty much it on Ulrich. I don't dislike him as a character, but he's probably my least favorite out of the main group. I mean, I don't even be surprised. Like I like characters that I can like laugh at and also do, have a lot of like moments with, which the next character obviously. Odd King! Odd Della Robbia. King of Katak Academy. I'm serious. He is the king of Katak Academy. Now he's not perfect in any way. Like he's a goofball, and he also like he purposely. I feel like he'd be purposely getting bad grades. Like I feel like if he asserted himself, he could actually be smart. He could actually get good grades. But I feel like he chooses not to. That's here nor there. I'm just saying. But Odd is he's so damn funny. Like, and without even trying sometimes, the way that he cuts into Sissy. Now, like I said before, it could be like venturing into like the bullying department, but at the same time, like you do get a lot of good moments. The two of them with their banter back and forth, and then also like he's a ladies' man. Like I'm actually like surprised. He's a ladies' man, but he doesn't have the best hygiene. Like he takes showers and stuff, but like a running gag is like his feet like really stink like bad, to the point where like when like in the episode where Yumi and Odd switch bodies, like Yumi like in Odd's body takes off his shoes and like passes out from the stench. I don't like those smelly feet. So like that makes me lose that makes Odd lose points with me. But I mean, obviously I'm not there. I'm here to critique his character, which his character is actually like enjoyable. I enjoy watching him on screen. I enjoy seeing him on Lyoko because his character design is so. First of all, it's so cute. Not only that, but it's like really, really cool. Like, he has like this cat like thing going on with the laser arrows in his wrists, and he shoots them, and he also has the shield. Just all around, Odd is again an enjoyable character. Pretty much the opposite of Ulrich. I feel like they balance each other out though as friends, but as it stands, Odd is the better character because you can stand to watch him a little bit more than Ulrich. I can't, like, let's say we took all the other characters away and this was just the Ulrich show. I wouldn't watch it, but I would watch the Odd show. I would watch the Odd show. Moving on. I will talk about Xana as I talk about the next three characters. The first is the man who started it all, and the reason why Code Lyoko is even a thing, Mr. Franz Hopper, or Waldo Schaefer. Waldo Franz Schaefer. That's his actual name, but he goes by Franz Hopper. And the reason why he goes by Franz Hopper is because, first of all, his wife her maiden name is Hopper, and so he took his wife's maiden name when he moved to France from Switzerland because all this stuff was going on. So he's the one who created Lyoko, and the reason why he created Lyoko was because he was a government scientist, okay, and he was researching different ways to counter their enemies, all this stuff. So it's a whole bunch of military bravado is the reason why. It was a military project called Carthage, and it was supposed to kind of counteract the militaries of their enemy nations by kind of attacking them through the network and taking control of the way that everything runs. Everything runs on electricity these days. So they knew that if you could invade them, if you can infiltrate them through the network, you could literally take control of all their weapons, all of their, everything, and just turn the tides of battle, whatever you want to do. So he was working on that project, but then he realized that it wasn't really ethically right, so he cut it out the project. And he had already made Lyoko and all that stuff, the virtual world, and Xana to help to govern it and help to protect it. That was literally what Xana was there to do. Make sure that nothing was going wrong in the program. But then it started to get a mind of its own. Yeah. And of course, the government started coming after him. He had to uproot his family. Unfortunately, the passing of his wife, and then he was just left with him and his daughter, who his daughter actually turns out to be Aelita. We find out that later on. And he takes Aelita to the bandit factory where he built this whole supercomputer, and then they get in the scanners and they go to Lyoko. When Aelita gets to Lyoko, she does not see her father. He is lost. Xana actually takes him away because Xana actually started to become more and more intelligent. See, here's the thing. We're going to get on Jeremy too. I'm going to integrate all of them into this. So let's first talk about Aelita. Aelita, when we first meet Aelita, she is actually, they think that she's a computer program, programmed into Lyoko, but she has some type of genetic code to where they can materialize her on Earth. They find out later on that she actually is from Earth. Aelita is probably one of the best characters on the show, hands down, because first of all, she not only is intelligent, she also has common sense. A lot of times she makes better decisions than Jeremy does. But she also has a really good heart about her too. So more often than not, she's telling the kids just shut the computer down, shut it down, because she does not want she doesn't want Xana attacking everybody anymore. She doesn't want it to get stronger. She just wants everybody to be good, which is okay. I feel like, and honestly, if I were in the position, I probably would have shut the computer down when I saw that it was causing a lot of issues. But no, we have the big bad up here trying to, govern everybody and tell them what to do because he knows best, because he's supposedly the smartest out of the group. No, you're not the smartest out of the group, sir. And yeah, so let's integrate Jeremy into this. Not the banging, the banging. So he is another reason why Code Lyoko is even a show, because he's the one that discovered the supercomputer after it was shut down the first time. Franz Hopper may have created it, and so he is the first to blame, but Jeremy is to blame for reactivating the supercomputer and turning Xana on. He's also the reason why... He's also the one to blame for a whole bunch of bullshit happening. He's also the reason why Xana became so strong, that he was able to leave the internet and actually take physical form, build other supercomputers in other areas of the world. He's the reason why a lot of this shit happens in the show. Jeremy is misogynistic. He's kind of a misogynist, because every single time that something is happening with Aelita, he thinks that he has to be the one to protect her. First of all, you don't know how to fight. You are not athletic at all. What are you protecting? whenever there's a Xana attack, Xana usually goes after Jeremy because Xana knows that Jeremy has no type of physical prowess at all. Like Aelita is stronger than him in a fight. Bitch can run and jump. Okay, because that's all she was doing in the first 2 seasons. That's all she was doing. It wasn't until season 3 that she got the little energy blast things, and even those weren't that accurate in the beginning. So she still had to use her brain and use them legs, right, Boots? But yeah, so Jeremy is again the reason why a lot of the shit was happening in the show, and I think that it goes to say, like, he was kind of selfish. um, you really set up here and allowed for a computer virus to become strong enough to actually leave the computer that it was housed in, to take over the world because you wanted your little relationship with Aelita to last. Mind you, you thought she was a computer program when you first met her, so you were in love with a computer program. So your love for a computer program made you want to potentially destroy the world. I have nothing. I have nothing. I have nothing to say to Mr. Belpois about his actions. They don't make sense. They really do not make sense. I can see if like she like, if it was to save like the entire world. Like, oh, we gotta save the world. Y'all could have literally saved the world by shutting the damn computer down. But guess what? Through season 2 and into season 3, guess what? Xana no longer needs the supercomputer. No longer needs the supercomputer. So if y'all shut it down, guess what? Xana's still there in the network. He's still there. I just don't understand like why it's a whole like thing for you to have this whole like this relationship with Aelita is literally the the center point of most of Jeremy's actions. To be so smart, but at the same time be so dumb is ridiculous to me. I'm just saying, like, why the hell? And then, he's also a hypocrite because only he gets to tell them when they get to go back in time. Okay, because Ulrich, when Yumi was going to move away, Ulrich did this thing where he actually used the return to the past thing so that he could get the lotto ticket numbers and win the lottery for Yumi's family so that they could stay. They thought that that was so bad. Like, yeah, of course, it was bad. It makes him stronger, but it was for a good cause. Jeremy has literally returned to the past so that he could use it to get smarter. And then it ended up not working. So you literally just sat up there and made Xana stronger through the return trips to the past. The return to the past are also like very funny sometimes because when they return back to the something that already happened like earlier that day, they're able to like kind of like freak out the person because they already know what that person is going to say. That's a running gag in the show when they were actually doing the return to the past like every episode. It was actually really funny. Remember, like I said before, with that whole like Jeremy using it to increase his knowledge. He It was funny because they kept on replaying the same day. So like they would go to the same class and then Odd, who usually doesn't know a goddamn thing about anything, actually like retained the information that was discussed in the class the day before. And so when the day repeated itself, he knew all the answers to all the questions that Mrs. Hurst was going to ask. And then sooner or later, he was up at the board teaching the class himself. I thought that that was the funniest thing ever. But back on Jeremy and his ignorant ass. I don't understand why. Okay, reading Franz Hopper's diary, you knew that making Xana like returning to the past made Xana stronger because that's the reason why Xana became intelligent enough to actually double cross Franz when he's the one that created him. The reason why Franz was doing the returns to the past is because he needed more time to actually perfect the network, the program that he was working on in Lyoko. Like he needed to perfect it. And he needed that extra time so that he could avoid the men who were looking for him from the government. Like he had to avoid the government. That's the reason why he kept on returning to the past. But in returning to the past, he made Xana stronger, which kind of made it like a super powerful, ultra powerful virus that could actually like materialize in the real world. I'm just like, y'all really? This is why I don't like the whole genius thing, because here's the thing. When you are super smart like that, a lot of times a lot of them think that they can play God. Sorry. No, you cannot. It'll always come back to bite you in the ass later. And that's the reason why I don't like Jeremy like that. I don't like him like that. And he's mad selfish. Like I said, he's selfish as hell. Majority of the things that he does. Oh, another thing that he did, okay, when they finally materialize Aelita and she's going to school with the rest of them, she is getting to experience, because obviously she it was like 8 years prior to the show that she was put on Lyoko by her father. So she really didn't get to experience life the way. And then, of course, when she was living on Earth, it was literally just her and her father and her mother when she was younger. But like she didn't have like the memories of that when she first got there. And then also she didn't have any friends like that growing up, because like they had to hide away. They literally lived in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. And she was homeschooled. So that's the thing about it. Like, obviously, when you're getting to finally explore life as as a human teenager, you want to go and explore different things. You want to experience things. I feel like it was very selfish of Jeremy to kind of get in her way when she found an interest in music, like, and that's something that comes from her childhood too, because her father was teaching her how to play the piano. So that I feel like that goes back to that. But like homegirl wanted to be a DJ, and like that she found that she was actually good at it because she works with computers and engineers a lot. Like she does all the computer stuff all the time. So obviously stuff like engineering, sound engineering is something that she's gonna really be good at without even really trying. So when she found that she was really good at it, she found it a passion for DJing. Really, Boots? You have to always do this, don't you? Always say hello. And she's gonna stick her ass in the air. Listen, I don't have time. Um, but yeah, so he literally said like pretty much treated her like she was complete crap because she wanted to do this DJing thing over, doing stuff with him in the damn lab. Like homegirl wants to actually go and have fun and party and stuff and be a teenager. Like leave her alone. And then I feel like it was also very like not only misogynistic, but it was again very selfish and just self entitled, that he thought that he was entitled to Aelita's heart just because the two of them had been speaking to each other, like flirting, like passing back and forth or whatever. But then when Nicholas, one of, Sissy's friends, takes an interest in Aelita, oh, it's the end of the world and this and that and the other. You're just horrible and this and that. I'm like, he really talked bad about. He really talked like ill of Aelita, and Aelita literally does not owe you a goddamn thing. Like you decided that you wanted to materialize her and save her. She doesn't owe you anything after that. She said thank you. She's appreciative. That's it. Why is it that these men, they always think that when they do like personal favors for women that they're entitled to, like, being in a relationship, or entitled to coochie, or entitled to just like the girl's energy. Like you're not. You choose to do those things for them. Don't be upset when they don't, try to like aren't like at your beck and call. Don't be upset when they don't want to date you in the end of it. Like I feel like Jeremy is like just one of those chauvinists that think that because he did something so nice for Aelita that he's entitled to Aelita's heart. Like you're not. Sorry. Like if she wanted to date, like not to say that she did because she's crazy about Jeremy, but like let's just say that she wanted to date Nicholas. That's her prerogative. If she finds somebody out there in the world that she likes more than Jeremy, oh well, so be it. Mess, a complete and total mess. That's the reason why I don't be giving him any type of anything. Like he's made a lot of bad decisions in this damn show, a lot. Um, but that's neither here nor there. I again, even though I'm talking mad shit about these characters, I liked every single character in this show and I enjoyed it a lot. And I enjoyed rewatching this show too. I'm just about to finish season 3 and about to go into season 4. I'll do an update like once I finished of like everything, but like I don't really need to go like to finish the entire show to actually tell you about it because there's a lot of things to pick from. There's a lot of things to choose. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, Anything that I miss, let me know. Obviously, I want to do other shows too. Like I wanted to analyze some characters from different sitcoms that we watched, like Girlfriends and The Parkers and One on One. I've been watching One on One lately too on Netflix. So yeah. Anyway, make sure you're following my social media. Okay. I don't really know what's going on there. I don't know. I usually don't know what's going on my own social media. It's crazy, isn't it? But anyway, I hope everybody has a great day, okay? Stay safe and take care. Bye.